Hear voices like that you don't hear very often in your life. You got to find a way to do it. The same thing with Jason Isbell. Same way I heard him. Somebody sat down and played a song called "Outfit" he'd written with Drive-By Truckers, and hearing those lyrics, it represented everything you know about growing up. You know, the kind of southeastern mentality, and man, they got me. They made me homesick. They made me so homesick I moved back to the south.
So where were these recordings done? I know in
Here.
a couple of months you're going to be taking over at RCA Studio A,
Yes, sir.
where they recorded. At what studio here in town?
Chris Stapleton was done at RCA Studio A. I don't know if you guys know about it. The studio is about to be torn down about a year ago.
Yeah.
It was saved last minute, but they did Waylon Jennings and Dolly Parton, Jolene and stuff there.
Well, maybe a little background on the difference between RCA Studio B, historic RCA Studio B, which of course is connected under the auspices of the place where we sit tonight. We're in the
Have you guys
Ford
been
Theater.
there? RCA Studio B?
Hey, you got to take the tour.
You got it.
Hop on the bus, Gus, and take
man,
the
it's
tour
heavy.
down to RCA Studio B.
It's heavy.
And right next door is Studio A. So was that just a technical upgrade? And Chet Atkins, was he responsible?
Well, I think, Nashville just exploded when they came up with the Countrypolitan sound. And they needed a bigger place to capacitate all the acts they were having success with, and a bigger place for string sections and things like that. So they built what is now A. It's about the size of a football field, so they could, kind of upgrade a little bit. But a lot of people still like Studio B. I think Elvis still liked B a lot.
Yeah, Elvis.
And some of the newer artists like Waylon Jennings loved A, and Dolly Parton as well. So there's so much history.
And they recorded in both, right? They
recorded
made
in
that
both,
transition. Because when you walk in the lobby as a part of that tour, you see Dottie West and Dolly Parton, Porter Wagoner, Charlie Pride, Waylon Jennings, all of these big
Beverly
huge
Brothers.
pictures on the wall. And I mean, that was back when those gals had that hair. It was, as
I wish I
Winona
was coming
said,
back.
yeah, as Winona said, it was Jack to Jesus. It was way up here. And Waylon had that little dab of do-ya in there,
Yeah.
I
I wish it would all come back. Those were good looks.
And then they, of course, some of them transitioned and recorded it at both places. I'm thinking about Shooter Jennings on this Southern Family project. Is it, these artists you work with, is somebody like Shooter Jennings?
When I moved to California, I moved there to do rock and roll. When I got out there, I met Shooter. We made a country record with a song called 4th of July. Kind of kicked off my country career, and he started educating me on good country records, and so that eventually led me back to the South. And I met Jamie Johnson through Shooter, and then we came and we did a bunch of tracks on 2 Jamie Johnson records, and so I kept coming back here all the time after meeting Shooter. Somehow he got me back here.
Hey, and I'm going to come back to Jamie Johnson in a moment, but Shooter Jennings, because he is Waylon Jennings' son and would have grown up running around the studio, is he more studio savvy just naturally than some artists?
He's born with it. Whatever that it thing is, he's born with it, man. He's one of the smartest, most intelligent people I've ever met, and just he's worldly about everything. He was really, I learned as much from him as he learned from me, I think.
I read where when you were doing the Chris Stapleton album, Traveler, the critically acclaimed work and Grammy Award-winning work, Dave Cobb, who just joined us, yes, that you guys only actually tracked a couple hours a day, is that right?
We did actually learn from him a lot. We had a major label doing the record, so you're supposed to show up for work and get to work and get on it, and the clock is ticking, but we get there and he'd order some food and he'd goof off for a little bit, tell jokes, order some more food, order some drinks, tell jokes. We didn't start recording about 9 o'clock at night, so we wasted a lot of money. If the label knew what we were doing, we'd have gotten fired the first week. But we didn't start recording until about 9 o'clock, and we get 3 masters, and that would be it. If you hear the Traveler record, that's all live. That's Chris singing live every time. The band playing live. I mean, that guy is one of the best singers I've ever heard. I mean, just he sings the truth when he opens his mouth,
When you talk about digital technology and the ability to tweak things, and none of that happened.
You don't need it with him, The only tweaking we did is to what we were going to order for dinner. Tomatoes or no tomatoes, no pickles. So.
Jamie Johnson, you mentioned him a moment ago. You ran into him, you talked about your recording with him in California experience, but where were you when he said, hey, I can just hear him going, hey, Dave, you're a Southern boy. You need to get yourself to Nashville.
He did that to me. I actually went over to the RCA building. He has an office over there. And when I was in his office, and he told me the same thing. But it all started, I'll tell you a little funny story. You guys know Jamie Johnson at all?
Oh, yeah.
when I met Jamie Johnson, he was clean cut. He was a Marine, so he had the clean cut hair.
I know
it was real high and tight.
I know exactly who you're talking
I
about.
wound up producing Oak Ridge Boys record. When I was producing the record, William Lee Golden, you guys know who he is with the big long beard, the Oak Ridge Boys? He had the big beard, and we were all talking around, and Jamie had written a song for the record, which is also in Southern Family called Mama's Table. And so he's talking to William. He's like, "So when'd you grow that beard out?" He's like, "Well, I reckon I kind of grew it, about 1978." And he's like, "Well, when'd you cut it?" He's like, "Well, I've never cut it since, And he starts pulling his beard, and he's like, "This goes this long here, and this only grows this long here, and this is where you get your length." And he hadn't cut his hair since 1978 or something too. And Jamie's like, "Why'd you do that?" He's like, "I don't know, man. I feel like my beard is an octopus, and I can feel what people think." So anyway,
He told me it will stop growing.
Yeah.
Your beard will grow a certain length. The way God made you.
That's what he
and
told me,
it
yeah.
will stop growing. And for some people, it's short. So for some people, it's
Yeah.
medium. And for some people, like
that's
William
exactly
Lee
what
Golden,
he said.
it's
He's like, that's how God intended it to be.
Yeah.
He kept saying the same thing. So Jamie now
Uh-oh.
has become William Lee Golden. So in that same conversation that he told me to move back, he stood there for a second. He was dead silent. And I said, "Hey man, did that whole octopus beard thing work out for you?" And he stood real quiet for a second. He looked at me. He's like, "I just mesmerized you for 30 seconds." I was like, So anyway, but he did tell me to come back here.
The first time I met him, when you talk about remembering what he looked like, he's wearing a cowboy hat, clean cut, and we met in the artist entrance of the Opry one night, coming and going, and he stopped me, and he had listened on radio and watched on GAC on Great American Country, and he stopped and introduced himself. And I look at what was going on in his career then with The Dollar. You remember that first single that he had out, and what has happened subsequent to that in his music, in his look, his persona, and everything. It's just
he's a real deal. He's done a lot of good music, I think.
Dave Cobb, if you just joined us, we're in the Ford Theater here at the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum. When something like Traveler happens, it is a happening, it really is what it's become.
Right.
When did you just know it was right when you and Chris and Morgan, his wife,
Yeah.